Okay, so let's do the next one. Take a moment to take this in. I want you to take a bird's eye view on this expression and sort of see this imprinted upon it. You have to look at this and see this. Okay, let me tell you how I think about it. My exact process is I look at this expression and I have to summarize it in one word. And first, my attention is directed here because that's the more complicated part. And I look at the more complicated part because the chain rule kind of works like that. This is the more complicated part, and then with each chain in the link, with each link in the chain, it kind of gets smaller and smaller and smaller and finally peters out to nothing. So the chain rule goes from complicated to simpler, 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 and so on, in terms of how big the expression is. So my attention is first drawn here, and I don't see a sign. That's not what my eye sees. My eye sees power, because if I had to describe this function, I would say it's a power of something. It's the sixth power of something. I won't even notice that it's the power of sine, because that's not important until the next step. And so because I'm seeing the power of something, I will use the power law in reverse, which is what we did all day yesterday. And I will write that it's sine to the seventh of x, because that's how the power law works. The power increases by 1 when you go in reverse. Now, I think we've done enough of these to realize that I would have to compensate for this 7 with a 1/7. You guys are with me on that? Because when I start taking the derivative, the 7 will pop out, the 7 that I don't have. So I'll have to compensate for it with a 1/7, and combined with this 2, it will produce 2/7. And now, of course I didn't mention this, but before I go this far, I would imagine how the chain rule would work out, and I would realize that according to the chain rule, when I take the derivative of this, there will be an additional term, multiplicative term, that's the derivative of this something, which is cosine. And here it is. And you might think, well, of course you were able to do that because you specifically thought of an example where it's just obvious. And if you're thinking that, you're exactly right. That's exactly how I came up with this expression. Plus c. Okay.